wasn't a race, it was a crisis. Tens of thousands of fans in the stands, millions glued to their screens, 20 cars prepared for the race. But when the grid formed, only 6 lined up. This wasn't a technical failure. This wasn't a driver's mistake. This was one of the biggest scandals in Formula One history. This was the 2005 United States Grand Prix. What happened that day in Indianapolis showed the world how not to run a sport, how commercial interests can collide with human lives, and how the trust of fans can be shattered in an instant. The United States of America, the land of speed, power, and spectacle. And at the heart of motorsport in this country sit two giants, NASCAR and IndyCar. One is the race of the people, heavy, powerful cars, insanely long races, contact in every corner, risk in every lap. Yes, that's NASCAR. The other is the race of purity and perfection. Open-wheel machines, speeds like fighter jets, strategies calculated down to the millimeter. That is IndyCar. And now, in the early 2000s, there was a foreign presence trying to stand among these two titans. Formula One, born in Europe, ruled by strict regulations, complex engineering, and colossal budgets, but it wanted to grow in America. So, a race was held at the legendary home of the Indy 500, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. F1 wanted to make a name, win hearts, and claim its place in this market. But things wouldn't go as planned, because the 2005 United States Grand Prix would not be lost on the track. It would be lost in politics, tires, and at the decision table. But this wasn't the oval layout. It was a road course configuration with complex turns, and that unique layout would lay the first stones on the path to disaster in 2005. At the time, F1 had two tire suppliers, Michelin and Bridgestone. Michelin had been competitive until that point, but the high-speed banked final corner at Indianapolis posed a major durability test. During Friday practice, Ralf Schumacher suffered a heavy crash. The right rear tire failed. The car slammed into the wall. Tests revealed that Michelin tires couldn't safely survive that corner. And this wasn't just about Ralf. It posed a safety threat to all 14 Michelin-equipped cars. Michelin officials proposed a solution: add a chicane, a tight, slow corner, before the banking. That way, speeds would be lower, tire stress would be reduced, and the race could proceed safely. Teams supported the idea, but FIA President Max Mosley and Ferrari rejected it. Ferrari, using Bridgestone tires, wasn't affected by the crisis. Adding a chicane would be seen as helping Michelin teams, something Ferrari was firmly against. And in F1, fairness can sometimes vanish under the shadow of team interest. Race day arrived. 20 cars set off for the formation lap. Everything seemed ready, but then it happened. All 14 Michelin cars pulled into the pits and withdrew at the end of the lap. Thousands in the grandstands were left in shock. Moments later, the screens showed the devastating truth. Only 6 cars would race: Ferrari, Jordan, and Minardi. Only the Bridgestone teams remained. The race went on, but there was no excitement, no competition. Ferrari took a 1-2 finish, but there were no winners. The stands emptied. Spectators demanded refunds. The US media mocked F1 relentlessly. CNN's headline, "How does a sport shoot itself in the foot?" FIA threatened to punish the Michelin teams. Teams apologized. Michelin paid back 20,000 ticket holders, but the damage was done. F1 lost its American trust for years to come. The event exposed just how fragile Formula One's management truly was. Was safety the priority, or rules, or money? In 2005, those questions went unanswered, and that silence haunted F1's reputation in the US for years. The FIA's stubborn stance, the lack of unity among teams, the tire war, everything collided into chaos. After the 2005 United States Grand Prix, Formula One had to make a choice that would reshape not just the tracks, but the very soul of the sport, because everyone had seen the truth. The tire wars weren't bringing speed, they were bringing danger. On paper, the battle between Michelin and Bridgestone looked thrilling. But in reality, every race felt like a gamble, a question of whether the tires would survive or explode. And FIA decided to end that gamble. From 2007 onwards, Formula One entered the era of a single tire supplier. First Bridgestone, and since 2011, Pirelli. 20 cars on the grid, all sharing the same rubber. This decision had two major consequences. First, safety. Another fiasco like 2005 would never happen again. Second, the nature of racing itself changed. No longer would tire companies push the boundaries of performance. Now the difference would come from the drivers and the teams. But this new order was not without criticism. The single tire era made Formula One, according to some, too uniform. Pirelli, especially in the early 2000s, designed tires to degrade quickly, forcing multiple pit stops. The FIA's goal was to create strategic variety, but for many fans, this wasn't natural competition, it was manufactured drama. And yet, one truth remains: without the disaster of 2005, Formula One might still be living in the shadow of tire wars. That crisis became the turning point that redefined the sport's approach to safety. Today, every driver on the grid runs the same tires. But what truly matters is not what tire you use. It's where you brake, how you push, and how close you dare to dance with the limit. In the end, it's not the tire itself that makes history. It's how you use it. Today, Formula One is more unified. With Pirelli as the sole tire supplier, tire controversies are rare and more controlled, but decision-making is still questioned. The 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix rule confusion, the 2023 Las Vegas surface issues, the 2024 Chinese GP's fan complaints. All these prove something. F1 is still fragile, still emotional, still deeply human, but at least since 2005, we haven't seen another fiasco so clear-cut and catastrophic. The 2005 United States Grand Prix wasn't just a race. It was a failure in governance, a collapse in credibility, and a textbook case in mismanagement. Because in motorsport, races aren't only won on the track, they're also lost or won at the decision table. If a sport loses its fans' trust, it loses everything. So, what do you think? Could another crisis like this happen again? How much has F1 really learned from the past? Share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, engines may fall silent, but memories never fade.